Welcome everyone. We are in DebConf25 and we welcome Yunseong Kim, who is going to talk to us about cryptographic thingies for the post-quantum era.
Right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Hello and good morning everyone. I am Yunseong Kim and particularly interested in Linux kernel security, and I've been contributing the Linux kernel finding vulnerabilities through the fuzzing. Recently, I've developed a strong interest in the kernel's cryptographic components, and I'm currently researching the area before making a new contributions. With the rapid progress in quantum computing, I felt a growing need to prepare. That's why I put together this session, hoping it can be helpful for various Debian-based environments and beyond. I'm not a quantum security expert, but I prepared this because I thought it might be helpful if you are planning a new project that uses cryptography. Let me start with this simple but critical message. Quantum computers are not just a faster computer. They operate fundamentally differently. By using quantum superposition and specialized algorithms, they can solve problems that are practically impossible for classical machines, including the math behind RSA and ECC. That means algorithms we trusted for decades, the ones the Linux kernel and many other systems rely on, can be broken once quantum machines reaches a certain scale. If we don't act now, essential security features like secure boot, kernel mode signing, and even software distribution integrity could be at risk. Quantum is no longer a distant future. It's coming. We need to adopt post-quantum cryptography now, not later. That's why the kernel and every project still depending on legacy crypto must start to evolve. Let me explain why Shor's algorithm is such a game changer in cryptography in the post-quantum cryptography. Shor's algorithm can efficiently factor large integers and solve discrete logarithms problems that are the foundation of most public key cryptography systems today. This means that widely used public key algorithms, RSA, ECDSA, and ECC can all be completely broken once a powerful enough quantum computer exists. So, how many qubits are needed to do this? For example, breaking RSA 2048 bits requires roughly 4,000 logical qubits, but because of the need for error correction, we are talking about millions of physical qubits in total. As quantum hardware improves and the number of qubits grows, even smaller key size like RSA 1024 could be broken in minutes, and RSA 2048 is becoming practically vulnerable. In short, once quantum hardware scales up, public key cryptography as we know it will collapse. This is why we urgently need to develop and deploy post-quantum algorithm. Not in some distant future, but right now. So, global algorithm is another quantum algorithm that makes weakness symmetric and hashy algorithm. In classical computing, search on unsorted list takes an O n time. Global reduces this to O sqrt(n) on a quantum computer. So this can be affected AES, block ciphers, or SHA-3, but not fully broken, right? But security is halved, so we need to use longer key and hashes. So we care about some short AES 1 to 8, and we care about SHA-2, and mostly care about RSA and ECC. So the yellow word means that they are less take careful, but red word means they are we need to careful about this algorithm they're using in the infrastructures or Linux Kernel or some cryptography library. So the blue word means they are mitigation for this ciphering algorithm. So this is the history of quantum and security. I bolded in this slide the most important cryptographically history. So in 1978, code-based cryptography appeared, and hash-based cryptography appears in next year, and 1986, global quantum algorithm are invented that invert any function using only n evaluation of the function. And 1994, Shor's quantum algorithm, integer factorization in polynomial time instead of a sub-exponential. And 1996, multivariate cryptography appeared, and 1998, lattice-based cryptography appeared, and 2011, elliptic curve Evgeny cryptography appeared. So some development for the quantum computer, this makes NIST and some European government makes an announcement. So in first, 2017, NIST announces post-quantum graphy PQC standardization program. In 2022, US government NSA announced the quantum resistance CNSA 2.0 suite required for the national security system. And 2024, liaison statement response to the liaison statement on quantum safe cryptography protocol inventory to the IETF. So this symmetry algorithm with at least 128-bit keys, such as AES, can continue to be used. And 2025 guidelines on cryptographic algorithm usage and key management by the European Payment Council. So they announced SLH DSA, e.g. Spinix, Classic McAleese, and Frodo KEM are recommended. A hybrid approach, classical plus post-quantum is required. And I think this is the recently announced and most important, 2024, NIST published the final standards of MLKEM and MLDSA and SLHDSA, and NIST states non-quantum resistant asymmetric crypto will be deprecated 2030 and 2035. And a few months ago, 2025 March, NIST officially announced the selection of HQC, Hamming-Cauchy cyclic, as the next code-based KEM, Key Encapsulation Mechanism Standard. NIST is actively developing detailed migration and transition guideline with draft recommendations released in late 2024 and undergoing public comments through the 2025. This outline paced duplication schedules and best practices for post-quantum readiness. Shor's quantum algorithm has the potential to break the asymmetric cryptography algorithm we use today, such as RSA and ECC. However, to run Shor's algorithm on a scale large enough to break this crypto system, we need a very powerful quantum computer, what's called a cryptographically relevant quantum computer, or CRQC. A CRQC requires tens of millions of robust physical qubits and trillions of quantum gates to function effectively. To give you a sense of scale, the largest quantum computer available today has only around 1,000 physical qubits. And these qubits are still unstable. Because of these technical challenges, it's currently unclear if or when a CRQC will be built. Experts estimate that if the number of qubits doubles roughly every 2 years, a very optimistic assumption, it would still take about 30 years to reach the scale needed for a CRQC. Moreover, there are some signs that investment and progress in quantum hardware may be slowing down. For example, IBM's roadmap projects a quantum computer with around 2,000 qubits by 2033, which is still far from the millions needed. On the bright side, there have been experimental breakthroughs in quantum error correction, which is a crucial step toward building more stable and scalable quantum computers. For more detailed insights, you can refer to the 2025 Quantum Landscape Analysis by Sam Jacobs, and they linked video that explain this development comprehensively. This is the recent advance in quantum hardware. Over the past few years, quantum hardware has steadily improved. Google introduced its 105-qubit Willow chip in last year, 2024, achieving the world's first experimental demonstration of a logical qubit based on surface code error correction. The Willow chip demonstrated a longer lifetime than a single physical qubit, known as beyond break-even, with a coherence time around 100 microseconds. showing that error correction can effectively offset physical qubit error during computations. Meanwhile, IBM operates a 127-qubit Eagle chip and plans to release a 433-qubit Osprey chip by the end of the 2024. IBM had slightly reduced qubit count but improved qubit fidelity to enhance overall system stability. IonQ had reached 35 algorithmic qubit AQ using trapped ion technology, benefiting from all-to-all connectivity that support complex circuits. Other companies like Quantium and Ligeti are developing devices with tens to hundreds of qubits as well. However, error rates remain relatively high, around this to this for superconducting qubits, and from this for trapped ions, meaning fully fault-tolerant quantum computer, FTQC, is likely decades away. And this diagram, 2025 update on quantum computing status. You can see these graphs are down. Looks like this. 2025 update on quantum computing status. As you can see in the chart, the current number of physical qubits and their error rates remain well below the threshold. Needed to break RSA 2048, which is indicated by the red line here. However, recent mathematical and algorithmic advances have brought the predicted Q day somewhat closer. Notably, analysis including Craig Gidney's new algorithm estimates that the number of physical qubits required has dropped from around 20 million to about 1 million, roughly a 20-fold reduction compared to earlier predictions. The breach of security measures doesn't directly reflect real-world security when attacks can't be easily parallelized. Even a quantum computer powerful enough to break RSA quickly wouldn't practically threaten symmetry algorithms like AES 128 or SHA 286. It would still take millions of years. Even with the millions of such quantum computers, so algorithms like AES 128, SNOW 3G, KECAC, and SHA 256 used in the Linux kernel are expected to remain secure for foreseeable future. But there is some attack like harvest now and decrypt later. This will be threaten our security if the quantum computer developing in the near future. And there is some compatibility issues that which the new project adapt present notable algorithm. A near future, this makes some compatibility issues on many devices. We can see some global company make some ecosystem. So AWS maintains a key PQC project like AWS LC and S2 NTLS. Cloudflare contributes with its PQC-enabled fork of Boring SSL as Boring SSL PQ. A collaborative PQC library, LibOQS, is developed by Google, Microsoft, Cloudflare, and others. We can see this project in the GitHub. Google recently adopted PQC for internal communication. And Apple also. Additionally, both the EU and US Department of the Defense have released roadmaps recommending PQC adoption. With NIST finalizing PQC standards in 2024, widespread migration efforts are now underway. In the latest release of OpenSSH 10 version, dated April 9th, in this year, 2025, a significant update was made to the default key agreement algorithm. OpenSSH now uses a hybrid post-quantum algorithm called like this. By default for key exchange, this is an important step forward in preparing for the era of quantum computing. This new algorithm is considered secure against attacks by quantum computers, providing strong protection that meets or exceeds the security levels of the widely used curve and SHA algorithm. Moreover, this algorithm has been standardized by the NIST, which adds to its credibility and reliability. On top of that, it is considerably faster than the previous default algorithm, offering better performance without compromising security. This upgrade reflects the growing emphasis on quantum resistance cryptography to future-proof our communication. For more details, you can check the official OpenSSH release notes link here. NIST has established 5 security levels to categorize the strengths of the quantum-resistant cryptographic algorithm. This level helps us understand how secure a given algorithm is against potential quantum attacks. Level 1 offers security equivalent to breaking AES 128 by exhaustive key search. This means an attacker would need as much effort as brute forcing AES 128 keys. Level 2 corresponds to difficulty of finding collision in SHA-256 hash functions. This involves finding 2 different inputs that produce the same hash value. Level 3 raises the security level of the AES 192, which requires a more extensive exhaustive key search compared to this. Level 5 is the highest defined level, matching the difficulty of breaking AES 256 by exhaustive key search, which provides the strongest quantum resistance security currently recognized by the NIST. Algorithm with quadratic speedup, such as Global's algorithm, which offers a proven optimal speed of O SQRT-N for unstructured search, will not yield any practical quantum advantage for breaking symmetric cryptography. whose classical security is typically O to exponential n, even under global optimal scenario. Right. The quantum effort becomes this, which is still exponential and thus impractical for well-chosen key size, like AES 256. Therefore, such quadratic speedup algorithms are unlikely to provide a meaningful advantage in breaking symmetric crypto systems, or are likely in solving most of the cryptographic problems. IETF statement on symmetric cryptography. First, the UK's National Cyber Security Centre, the NCSC, which says that symmetry algorithms like AES with 128-bit keys or more are still safe, even in the future with quantum computers. What about other symmetry algorithms like Snow 3G, Duke, TWAC, KMAC, 128, ESCON, and so on, where even though they are not AES, they behave similarly under global algorithm, which is best known quantum attack for symmetric crypto. It gives only a quadratic speedup, which means it's not fast enough to break 128-bit keys in any practical sense. Even if some of these algorithms are slightly weaker than AES 128, they are still strong enough to meet the minimum requirement for NIST's Category 1 quantum resistance, which is basically equivalent to AES 128 level security. At the CHES 2024 conference, quantum expert Saint-Jacques jokes that you would need so many qubits to break AES 128 that the qubit would cover the moon, right? Too many. And just recently, in 2024, NIST reaffirmed that all of their symmetry algorithms offering 128-bit classical security are believed to meet at least Category 1 quantum security. So, what does quantum resistance really mean in practice? It means we mainly need to focus on replacing asymmetric algorithms like RSA and ECC, which are vulnerable to quantum computers. To do that, we need to take inventory of what crypto we are using and crypto agility to system, prioritize high-risk areas, develop and deploy the new algorithm, and eventually phase out RSA and ECC completely. PQC refers to public key cryptography that remains secure even if large-scale quantum computers, known as CRQC, are developed. In other words, these algorithms are designed to withstand attacks from powerful quantum machines. A key advantage is that PQC algorithm can be run in software on classical computers, just like RSA or ECC. No special quantum hardware is required. They work on the same devices we use today. Another important point is that governments around the world, including the US, UK, EU, and other countries, all place their trust in cryptographic systems that are as well established and well studied. The three main families PQC algorithms have long histories: code-based and hash-based and lattice-based cryptography. These systems have been around for decades and have withstood extensive theoretical and practical analysis. Today's standardization discussions are not about whether these algorithms are secure. They are. The current focus is on which optimizations should be made to choose the best candidate for the deployment. That includes considerations like performance, ease of implementation, key sizes, and communication efficiency. We are now in the final stage of choosing the most practical and robust options for the future. Let me walk you through the recent progress in post-quantum cryptography standardization. In 2018, both the IETF and later NIST standardized State 4 hash-based signature schemes, namely XMSS and LMS. These are important early steps through they come with practical limitations, especially in key management. One notable issue is that NIST currently prohibits private key export for such a scheme. So we can keep our key in some hardware crypto things like TPM, which creates deployment challenges in certain systems and devices. To address this, NIST is working on an update to SP 828 to clarify and possibly relax these restrictions. Fast forward to 2024, NIST has officially standardized 3 major algorithms: MLKEM, a lattice-based key encapsulation mechanism; MLDSA, a lattice-based digital signatures algorithm; and SLHDSA, a stateless hash-based digital signature. This we use for the public key. This also, and this also, right? Looking ahead, another lattice-based scheme, FNDSA, is expected to be finalized and published by NIST in 2025. In terms of encryption, NIST also officially selected HQC. A few months ago, a code-based scheme based on Hamming-Query cyclic code for standardization. Meanwhile, the second round of the additional quantum resistance signature project is ongoing in 2025, exploring more options for the future. ISO is working on standardizing several post-quantum algorithms, including clashing McEllis, MLKEM, and FrodoKEM, which is based on unstructured lattice. Unfortunately, most ISO drafts are paywall, limiting broader community access and review. Overall, we are seeing accelerated progress in standardizing diverse families of post-quantum algorithms, lattice-based, hash-based, and code-based, all aimed at building a resilient cryptographic future. Meanwhile, European governments are taking a more cautious approach. They recommend additional algorithms such as SLH, DSA, clashing McEllis, and FrodoKEM, and importantly, they are require the use of hybrid schemes for now. This means post-quantum algorithm must be paired with classical counterparts to ensure backward compatibility and layered security during migration. This difference is reflect distinct risk assessment and deployment philosophies between the US and Europe. But all agree on one thing. Post-quantum cryptography is no longer theoretical. Deployment decisions are happening now. In this slide, PQC migration comparison. What we are doing with PQC now is similar to past migrations. Remember when industry moved from the DES to AES, SHA-1 to SHA upper version. These transitions were essential, but took years to fully complete, often over a decade. Key differences is, unlike those past migration, which had clear end dates when adoption was complete, PQC has no fixed deadline. The transition will be gradual and ongoing. Because quantum-capable adversaries could emerge unpredictably. Where RSA and ECC are vulnerable and why we need to PQC. Let's look at the critical operation that relies on RSA, ECC public key crypto, which are vulnerable to quantum attack. Key exchange encapsulation, encryption, RSA, and ECC are used in TLS, as you know, SSH, VPNs, but Shor algorithm could break this instantly. We saw that. Binding signature for non-repudiation, signatures that prevent denial of transaction or message origin, such as in illegal documents, financial transactions, and contracts. Signatures root of trust for firmware or software upgrade, right? Devices check digital signatures on updates to ensure authenticity and prevent malicious tampering. Short-term signature for authentication examples include U2F security keys, TOTP, or other client certificates using day-to-day logins. Just like AES and SHA-2 replace the older standards, we need to gradually migrate away from RSA, ECC toward quantum-safe algorithms. The difference is no fixed finish line. It's a continuous process aligned with evolving quantum advancement. This is necessary to secure key exchange, non-repudiations, firmware integrity, authentication, and even the root of trust in PKI system against future quantum threats. So this is the accent for the previous slide. We can skip in this slide. And this is the security migration year that NIST suggests. You can see the 2030 upper years is important for this. And this slide, beyond the protocols in the connectivity layers, the application layer also uses security protocols like DTLS, SRTP, and MIKI SAKKE. These protocols are designed for security real-time media transport and key management. Right. So this is the table that compares some performance between the key sizes. You can see I will upload this presentation slide, so you can reference for the some migration and handle the post-quantum security. This is the usage for the crypto algorithm in the Linux kernel in this table. Right.
Thank you very much for your presentation. It was big, huge. We don't have any time for question and answer right now. Sorry about that, but I hope you are open to people coming to you. And thanks again for your presentation.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Have a great day.